Is Yerushalmi Berachos Daf Chav Vav. Daf Yomi Yerushalmi. We're starting right at the top of Daf Chav Vav. Rabbi Tanchuma. Rabbi Tanchuma said, "They might kill Shemet Filah Brachah Chameshes. Why is Shemet Filah 15 Brachah Shemon Esrei? K'neged Hashem Ababu Yoshav Shehu Kula Shukolas Aparanos B'Yavo Hashem curtails the flood for coming to the world. So that is the 15th mention of Hashem in Mizor David Hashem Ne'elim, and that so to Tefillah curtails bad things from happening when Hashem listens to our tefillos. Avoda Lodoya. The Avoda would say because before Modim. Zoveach Todah Yichabdeni. First Zoveach, the korban. Todah, then the thank you. Yichabdeni, because we korban. So some derech erena b'yesha elokim. And somebody who's careful in assessing his pathway, I would show him the redemption of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So the Pnei Moshe does not say Pshat on this. Where's the shot here? So the Chumash Yerushalmi here says that it's really just simply the end of the pasuk. So Vech Toda, if you do Zvicha and then Toda, then you could cover HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and some derech and be a shalokim. Somebody who makes the right path, see the redemption of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So it's not a separate thing; it's one long pasuk. Because in B'Shalom, and the last bracha is Sim Shalom. Shkal brachos chosmeim Shalom. All brachos you should conclude with Shalom. Why is that? Because Arishim Berachos Ein Chol Kli Shemasi Bracha Yotzim Shalom. So a vessel which holds blessing more than Shalom. Matam, what's the pasuk says? Hashem also that Hashem is giving. Chazal says it refers to giving of the Torah. The person's giving Hashem's giving the Torah to army. So then Hashem Berachos Shalom, he has to give him the Kli Kibul, receptacle for it, which is Shalom. The Pnei Moshe has a slightly different shot, but I think this is a good shot. The Karavitah, if a person made a mistake, it was reading Shema, made a mistake, you go back to the list, you made a mistake, and take it from there. If you're not sure whether you're up to the Ksavtam in the first parasha or the Ksavtam in the second parasha, so you go back to the first one. You made a mistake, you don't know where you made a mistake. You go to the last place which you remember for sure that you actually said. Dilma, it's a story. Rabbi Chia, Rabbi Yossi, Rabbi Ami, Salkim Yavid, the Ginunei, Rabbi Elazar. They went to make the chuppah for Rabbi Elazar. Shamakai, Rabbi Yechanan. They heard the Rabbi Yochanan's voice. Imachtis Mila, he was if Rabbi Yochanan's mimachar something in the base measure, in other words, I guess they're up making the chuppah some distance from the base measure, not distant enough that they can't hear. So they were concerned. If what Rabbi Yochanan says a chiddush, who's going to go down here for them? So they say, let everybody go down. Do Zari Sagin, he's very diligent, and he can get, or he's very quick. It could be either one. Could be always diligent in being precise about the Shmuel. It's going to be quick. Go down, hear the chiddush, and come back up. Nochis v'salak, he'll go right down and come down and come so he can come back up. So when he came back up, he said, Kain amar Rabbi Yochanan. So this is what Yochanan said, Kocha u'matza atzmo b'laman. If you reading Shema and you spaced out, and you when you started saying Laman Yerbu, you don't know how you got there. It could be after the first excitement, could be after the second one. So Chazaka Kavin. So the Chazaka is that he not necessarily had a kavana because obviously he spaced out there, but that he he did it accurately, meaning that Laman Yerbu he's saying is after the Shema. I don't have to be concerned it might be after that he just got there after skipping the whole Vayam Shema. Rabbi Love, Rabbi Yasser, Rabbi Acharuba, Yismam Matzav Shomei Tefillah. The person davens and finds himself Shomei Tefillah. He's daydreaming or Shomei Esrei. Finds himself Shomei Tefillah. He wonders if he said all brachas properly. Chazaka Kivein is a kavin, and here kavin does not mean he had kavana. Otherwise, this would be a moot point. It means that he said it the right way, and therefore he doesn't have to go back and say the brachas. It says more further. Rabbi Yerushalmi Berachos Nispal v'lo kiben libo. See the difference? The person davens and did not have kavan in the heart. There's a difference in kavin, which is get it right, and kiben libo, which they have the right kavan. Im yodea shu chozer. Umechaven is libo. If he knows it next time around, he mechaven. Yispal should go back and do it again. If not, he should not go back. And in fact, the post can say that, as Mana said, we have no guarantee we can have Kabbalah second time around there, but we don't go back. Rabbi Chia Ruba, the good great said, I never noticed this before, but before it said Rabbi Law, Rabbi Hashem, Rabbi Acharuba. Excuse me. Usually we associate the term Ruba with Rabbi Yochanan, with Rabbi Chia, but before it associated with Rabbi Hacha, which I don't recall seeing before. Let's see that somebody speaks about here. Okay. Wonder if it ever happens again. Rabbi Chia Ruba, Rabbi Chia the great said, "Onamin yomi lo kavanis." I never had kavanah while I was davening. So something like this about me as well. El chad zman, one time by mechavnis, I really want to focus, but it hurts Billy B, and I thought in my heart. One reason I said, "Man olakume malka kadmei." Who goes in front of the king first? Arkabasa or Reish Galusa? Is it the Arkabasa, which is a lower level? No, sorry, I spoke too fast. Arkabasa, the Moshe's Girsa is a klapta, which is a malamish galusa. He says, "Im nose melch seder mimata l'mala or mimala mata, v'akapta kodim l'reish galusa." So, who goes first? The kapta or the reish galusa? So I always assume that this is a way of being over his kavanah. He's saying to himself, who goes in first? The person who's more chashuv, or the person who's secondary chashivas. I have this person more chashuv, and therefore, if I want my tefillah to be kabbalah, I should daven with kavanah. But it's interesting, Meiri, which is quoted here from the Chumash Yerushalayim, says he brings in Yerushalmi with some differences. The Chibur Tshuva and Meiri. But quite either time Talmud Yerushalmi. They testify that Amisham Amar Plonim Yamal Amatzil Kavne, Chazman Asin Kavne, Amina Man Ukame Malka Beresha, Haparcha, or Kapta, the Parcha is higher than Kapta, Shmuel Anamanina for Chai. We're going to see the next things that Shmuel says. I might as well read it now. Shmuel says he used to count chickens, and Rabbi Yavin Amar says, Bumar Chi Amar. Armin is the Messiah used to count rows of bricks. Amar Tanya and the Magzik Tivul Roshe. I am grateful to my head. The God Avo Mati Modim Ukrami Garme when it gets the modim, it bows down automatically. So he makes this down. Amar Rishon says the first one. Rabbi Chias said, "Lo Klaim Avlei Mechamim Tfilaso." You never had kavanas during tefillah. Yom Echad Shier Batzmo Shechamis Tfilaso. And one day he had in mind he's actually going to have kavanah. Some Kol Ishtad Lusa B'Zeh. He put all his effort to it. We told that tefillah, but while I was davening, it's Arba V'Machshavto. His thing got confused. Leida Mihu Nichas Tifnei Melech. Who goes before the king? To tefillah first. Ima Farcha or Tzomar Pecha. Achar Shu Nichbad Achar Melech, because he's the second after the king. Or Kaptora. Protzam Mishnah Melech V'Yo Atzo. Is somebody who's a captain, so to speak, or to the king, and an advisor. Zos Moshe Verbavto. This Machshava confused him. Ma'ashigia Minainahu Lachush. And from that he started. It disrupted his senses. Imuchusha Shema, Imuchusha Rus. I'm not sure exactly disrupted his hearing or his vision, but somehow disrupted them. I guess by the he started either daydreaming or day hearing, and that was confusing during davening. And the other one says, "We would count the birds which are flying while I was davening." The third one went even further with his lack of kavanah, saying, he didn't daven with his mouth, only out of complete habit. And the words of the tefillah and the letters came on their own, like they hergo by rote. That's a session. When he got the money, his head bowed down its own. Custom. Not because he had any direct kavanah. So all this demonstrates a lack of kavanah and distraction. So obviously there are many names here. Some of them make drashos out of these things. What exactly they're merames to, like the one who counted chickens, he's looking at Tinokosh Beis Rabban. There's close when we counted the bricks. He was looking at the Avos. There's close that they found the Am Yisrael. And the one who said was Maxi Tova Roshi was Maxi Tova to the good midos, which he got from davening. But the pashtus is like those who say that they're trying to show their lack of kavanah. Not that Chas v'Sholom they didn't have kavanah below Lo Shalev Sholim. Chasam Sofer says interesting thing. He says these chachamim ain't so much lo kibnu mashia amrus. They didn't have kavanah to say what they were saying. Keep the Hashem esvasli when they praise Hashem with their lips, not with their hearts. On the contrary, it says that since they wanted to have kavanah, they never daven kabbalistically with the shemos and yichudim during davening, in order not to get confused. And this, the Rashi Mikun said after he learned all of the Kabbalah, he davened like a simple child before HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Balatani also said the same thing. The study Kavanah is before davening, during davening, he davened like a simple child. So according to this, Rabbi Chia was saying once I had in mind to do the Shemos and Yichudim, and I got confused. And those who counted he said these Kavanahs got him mixed up. We don't know what this Kavanah means. It says that he was already so accustomed the various different things after the first three say Kavanahs, which we don't know fully what they are, according to Chazam Sofer, but the last one says that I already was so accustomed to daven appropriately and have in mind the Kavanahs at the same time that it wasn't a problem for me to do both together. Also, it's very difficult to say because it doesn't seem like that's the intent of the Gemara, but rather, even though they're Kedoshei Elyon, and perhaps they were exaggerating, they were trying to make the rest of us feel that we're not total losers if we don't have proper kavanah during davening the entire time which we're davening. the Mashbiach says. Yeah, this he says that this. On here too. I haven't have too much Mashbiach in front of me. It doesn't matter. So the Mashbiach even says that that these Ma'amorim of Chiruba, Shmuel, Rabbun, Mitanya was a video she's vadvis onu al zeh shelo yu yichol mechamed filosan. They weren't able to eat mechan properly, and we was saying also in Bali Baba Basra similar things. Rabbi Dime and about Rabbi Yosef over there, who wanted then Abai Rava, the one Rabbi Yitzchak, they want to take blame for the death of Rabbi Nachman Yitzchak. Each one says, "I was one who was responsible," and it's not that they were saying they were being humble. Each one saying their own bidui. So again, it could be they're exaggerating for the person to make us feel good, but they the push-up shot is like the shot that they were actually doing, saying we did not we did something high, not we did something special, but you, the rest of you should not feel bad because we too have difficulty being mechaber during davening. Halacha, homnin kohen b'rosh nidbach. The craftsman read at the top. B'rosh ilon. Craftsmen who were working on the trees can read at the top of a tree. Or b'rosh nidbach at the top of a row of bricks. They're now they can do it by shema, where you need kavanah only for the first pasuk, so it's a short amount of time. For that burst, they can have kavanah, but they can't do it for tefillah, not for Shemona Esrei, which requires more kavanah. So the Gemara says, "Kini masnisa." This way, the Gemara, the Mishnah. Appalling Karim Barosh Elon. The umnim don't go up to the top of trees. It's the Pauline, the workers who go up to the top of the trees, and umnim Barosh Nidbach. And the craftsmen, the bricklayers, the ones who read at the top of the row bricks. Tiny Kane, we learned also similarly. The spawn Rosh Zayis down at the top of an olive tree, Rosh Tain at the top of a fig tree, because evidently they are different than other trees. They're very secure. But other trees which are less secure, you have to go down and daven below. Now this is only workers who are obviously paid by the amount of time to work, so they're not allowed to take off time more than absolutely necessary to daven. So they say what they can at the top of the tree. But the Baal Bayis says no such. The employer doesn't have such dispensation. He's not being paid by the hour. He should go down. Is not being paid. Therefore, there's no issue of his doing his short shrifting his employer, and therefore lo and behold, he has to always go down no matter what, whatever kind of tree it is, and down the whole thing below. So I said it's because the top of the olive and the top of the fig tree are sturdy. Because it takes a lot of effort, and it's very hard to get up and down, and there'd be too much bitul malacha, and therefore they were allowed to say the da'im Shemona at the top of the tree. Tani, we learned hakataf, a person who bears a load on his shoulder. Even though his load is on his shoulder, raise a koyes shema, you can say shema that way. But should not start Shema near the time when he's taking down his load, or taking up his load, because at that point in time his heart is not calm enough to have full kavanah. You're not to daven with a load on your back if you can avoid it, and therefore you shouldn't daven Shemona Esrei until he removes the pack from his back. So if he had a load of 4 kab, which seems to be a very light load, then we're not concerned, and he doesn't have to. He doesn't have to. He doesn't have to take off the load before he davens. That is only if he shuckles. No, he says he distributed. He weighed his load and distributed in a way in which is not burdensome. Ma'ushikel, what's the way in which we make it not burdensome? So the way you do it is train chukin l'choroi chaylukumoi. 2/3 of the load on your back and 1/3 of the load in front of you. Tani, we learned lo yeh maramas bein avekore. A person should not make signs with his eyes, blink or stuff, or when he's being korei shema. Tani, apolim mishigosim lachitz v'abayis harei elu v'varchim bracha rishona. So by benching also, they have to curtail the amount of time they bench because they're working. They make the first bracha, the kolon shel Yerushalayim shel Aretz, and then they put together the next two the next two brachos. It's out of order, right? Yerushalayim comes after shel Aretz, but the point is that they put them together. The Chol Misher Shoretz and the Chasimat our Oretz Val Hamazo. But if they were having the meal with the balabos, well, actually, that's the second thing, right? Not the first thing. They're getting paid. The part of their wages are the meal. The meal is part of their wages, so then they actually the Moshe says the only part of their wages, right? So they then the Suda evidently, if that's their payment, should be eaten in proper slot. So therefore they don't abbreviate anything. They should do the full benching appropriately. Or alternative, Shabbat Ochliman. The Abayis is eating with them together. They have to do the full benching. Armai said the reason why this is an issue for us is so you can't do malacha when you're benching. The locaine, because not the case, what would it say? It would say you should do the malacha and be bench at the same time. Multitask. So obviously, it's clear that we don't allow you to multitask. We don't allow you to do malacha at the same time that you're benching, at least till the end of the brachas. Rabbi Shmuel Bar Yitzchak Shem Melchun said, "Lo yamanu mismalo umin mabeh biyado." Person should not daven with a coin in front of him. So not holding a coin. It's not supposed to hold anything except a sitter. The front of Aser, in front of him, it's Aser. Al Achra Mutter. Presumably, if it's slung over his shoulder, in other words, he's not directly holding onto it, so then it would be okay. The Gemara says, he would actually wrap them and put them in his hands. So I think we'll come back to this tomorrow because it leads into the next Gemara, and we're already on the top of Chav Zayin Amud Aleph.